Hello and welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. So today I'm going to be doing my September wrap up. Now guys, September was a struggle. On the social side, it was a great month. I went to Jamaica, spent some time with family to celebrate my uncle, and then I came back and I also had a great time at Brooklyn Book Festival and where I met authors and get to do a lot of workshop and all that other stuff. And so I hope you guys watch those videos. So although I was enjoying those moments, I was struggling to read in the beginning of the month. It was not my best reading month. I did manage to get through 4 books, which in the average people would think that's a lot of books, but for the amount of book I was accumulating in the last 2 months, which is way over 35 books, and that's not included my already unread TBR shelf. I wanted to read more than 4 books because I wanted to kind of balance out a little of what I'm bringing in to what I'm actually putting on my read shelf. So that's where my disappointment came in. But overall, surprisingly, I've read 4 different genres, and there were some surprises books that especially one of the book that I picked up that it's an accomplishment. So I felt good about that. So I'm almost finished with a 5th book, but I didn't get to finish it before the end of the month, so I can't add that. But I'm gonna start off with a long romance that I've been wanting to read. I just never I picked it up a few times and I just was like, oh, no, I'm not in the mood for this character. And this is Kill Switch. Now Kill Switch is the 3rd book in the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. Now this is a dark romance. It is not everybody's cup of tea, but it's like my guilty pleasure, and I love reading this series. And initially when she was writing this book, the 3rd book, which is about Damien, now I follow her on Twitter, and I remember when she said we're gonna like Damien, I was a little bit skeptical, and I actually responded to her Twitter because I'm like, there's no way she's gonna get me to like Damien, because he was like the least favorite character, the one that I kind of really did hate this character in the book. But she was clever because the way she write this particular series, the 3rd book in the series, where you still get in the other characters from the first 2 books, which I can't talk too much about because there's a bits and pieces of spoilers in it. But what I did like is that the beginning, I was like, I still don't like this man. I'm not gonna like this man. But as you get to know why he is like this weird and sometimes ruthless character, you kind of feel why he had to pretend and be a certain way, where there are moments where he really is cruel and there's moments where it's justifiable. So that's where I'm like, I started to like weed over to the, okay, Damien, you're not as bad, I kind of like you. The only problem I have with this is when the first book came out, there was a shocking scene. And if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. And I felt like she wanted to recreate that scene in this book, where it just wasn't necessary. It didn't do anything for me. It wasn't shocking. It wasn't juicy. It was just like, yeah, we didn't need that scene. It was just, like, it didn't add nothing to the story. I mean, the first time you did it in the first one, it did something to the series. It made it shocking. It gave it some flavor. It just didn't work this time around. So I felt like that was just not necessary. But other than that, I liked it. I liked the series where she's bringing it to, and I know it's not done because there's certain things that's not completely tied up, and I like the secrets to how they were revealed and how it all connects everyone in a way. So I'm here for that. So then I got to another 5-star read for me, which was Jacqueline Wood's Red at the Bone. Now this is a book that I felt connected to emotionally. It was an emotional read for me. It is not a story that is going to give you every nooks and cranny and details that you need per character. You are learning bits and pieces of a story about a young girl whose teenage pregnancy affected 2 different families, hers and the young man that impregnated her. So you're not going to get detail on each individual because it's a short, it's in 200 something pages. But what I would say is when you get the bits and pieces, and she have you thinking about what is going on and thinking about how each character is affected by this, and how their story and their past, and how it connects their future, and how their expectations and what they can live with and what they cannot live with, and how they're dealing with the situation, especially the young woman, and you see the before and after. And there was that moment where I was so emotionally connected to the character, and I understood her, and I got that moment, and it was one of those where I cried, because it just was like, wow, yeah, that's another way of something like that happening to a young woman, and how she's dealing with it. And it's something that is very much common, a lot of stories that I know personally, and you don't get to have those moments the way you want to, and you don't get to really have a clear understanding of what you want, and what you feel, because of the past, and how that has molded your mind into thinking all these expectations and these beliefs, especially when it comes to relationships. So I really love this story. I did a full review on it. Go check it out. And let me know. And if you're a person that this did nothing for you, what was your hang up on this book? Because I really loved it. I gave it a 5-star, and I'm just curious to why, what was your hang up on it? Because it is a topic that not everyone is going to get and everyone's going to connect to, but I'm just curious to what is your real reason for your about this book. So let me know. Then my biggest surprise, and the only reason why I pick it up, because I'm still on this journey of reading my mom's favorite books, and that is Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. Guys, I loved it. I be honest with you, I haven't read a Charles Dickens book in probably 5 years ago, and that was A Tale of Two Cities. And I remember reading that book, going to work, and having a discussion with my manager at the time about the book, and he loved it to the point where he recited like the first chapter in the book. And I remember just feeling like, no, I'm mad. I wanted to go dig the man up and go fight him, because ain't no love, ain't no love. No love. Like every time when I think about that book, I just want to just like hold on to my neck, because that's how the book made me feel. So I was a little bit skeptical of reading another book from him, because I felt like he's gonna make me feel the same way. And he almost got me in this one. He literally almost got me into this one as well. But when I got to the end, I was like, all right, you did good. So this is a story about a young man, and he is inherited this wealth, and he's raised by his sister and her husband, and he's not sure how this wealth come about. And he has this guardian who is a bit aggressive, and this is the man who's basically in charge of his wealth. Weird. But prior to that, he actually helped a convict, an escaped convict, and he kept the secret because fear, and but the stories all unfold later on, where you're learning who he gave him this wealth, and this made him a gentleman, because he was in a poor family. And this time period where being a gentleman meant everything. You are you're given respect, you can do a lot with your life. And once he learns that, it tormented him, and he thinks about a lot of things. And then also there's that whole idea of the good guy, bad guy in this story. You're kind of not sure who the good or the bad guy is. And even when you think there's elements of that society expectation. And there's a bit of a romance in this as well, but it really wasn't a romance that I myself was a fan of, and this is one of the reasons I thought I was gonna go have to dig the man up and fight him. But it goes back to the expectation. Then becoming, being taken care of as a woman, and what you're willing to give up and deal with in that case, without even following your heart or following having your own mind and your own decision making in that. And to me, it was one of those stories that you kind of, it's dated. It's because it's way back. What is this? 1800 somewhere. So so that's not relevant too much to now, but in a certain way it is. People still have this hang up on what a gentleman should be, in terms of wealth and education. And I loved it. It was just, he's a lovable kid that became even a more lovable man. I do feel like the side characters were like the thing. I really love, the old woman in this, and the convict I love in this. He's just like, he was a bad guy, but then it was like he just made the story more interesting. And all the other characters that fall into this story, and Joe, oh Joe, poor Joe. So I am gonna be, I'm gonna pick up some more, and I'm definitely gonna ask my mom what more, or what her other stories are, because right now I've read this one, and I read there was the other one I read last month. I can't remember. I'll put it up somewhere. But this is her two favorite books, and this one she says she'll definitely read again. So I'm gonna see what else she has that I haven't read yet. Yeah. And then the last one I read, which was an arc I received, which was The Stars and the Blackness Between Them. And this one is a YA, and I really liked it. It was just two teenage girl who is going through the emotion, and their sexuality is mixed up in their family situation. You have one girl from Trinidad, and she had a girlfriend that was busted and ended up being shipped to live with her father in America. And you have a young girl who lives in America, and she's dealing with a life-changing situation, and how she is dealing with it and getting inspiration by an unlikely person, including the girl from Trinidad and another person, which I won't mention. What I love is that although sexuality is what really buy you on the synopsis, it is more about life and how you live it, how you enjoy the moments that you have in it, and how your feelings and your desire, how you should handle it in terms of enjoying the moments that you do have on this earth. And I love that. I love the family dynamic in this. I love the conversation that one of the characters had with her father, and how he talks about his love for her mother and what changed. And sometimes the change is not what you expect, but you still appreciate the time that you did have while it was good. I love that. I love the intimacy between the two characters. I thought that was sweet. And the stories of Trinidad and her grandmother, and bits and pieces of that was talked about. It was just so many moments where there was a lot of quotes in this that is beautiful. That was like, oh my God, when she talks about love and passion. There was so many things in this book that was just so dreamy and so poetic. And there's a lot of poetry in this as well. So if you're a poetry person, you will really appreciate this book. It just gave me that moment, and I love that it just was, it became more than just a story about someone's sexuality. It was more than just that, and I can appreciate this. This was a good read. And I kind of expected it to be. For some reason, it just gave me the vibe that it was gonna be good, and I'm glad that it lived up to my expectation, and I wasn't disappointed. It is a long read. It felt like a long read. Because it was just emotional at times, where I was just like, okay, I'm not ready for this moment yet. Oh, what's gonna happen here? So but other than that, this is good, guys. This was a good one. I'm pleasantly surprised, and happy that it turned out to be a good read for me. So that is all the 4 books that I got to. It was not my best month, guys, but I am probably gonna read about the same amount of book this month too. Because I'm reading a chunker, the Count of Monte Cristo. I got to 250 pages the first time around I tried to read it, and I haven't cracked a page yet. I'm hoping to get to it soon. But yeah, and I'm still reading the Caribbean Romance, which I'm going to review when I'm done. But yeah, but thanks for watching, guys, and have a good day. Bye.